While the 3D printing scene continues to progress rapidly, one of the remaining limitations is also one of the most frustrating. It's difficult and expensive to 3D print in metal. A metal working technique called lost wax casting has been used to make jewelry for hundreds of years and has been combined with 3D printing to make metal printers, parts, and even Academy Awards. With lost PLA casting, you will need some DIY skills and a bunch of materials, including a spool of PLA filament, but you can do your own metal printing. To give you a brief overview of the process, casting starts with a model, usually sculpted from special wax. The model is placed in a plaster mold and the mold is heated until the wax liquefies and flows out of a hole in the bottom, hence the lost wax part of the lost wax casting. Liquid metal is then poured into the mold, which flows into the imprint of the design left in the baked plaster. As the metal cools, it solidifies and is ready to be removed, cleaned, polished, and used. Lost PLA casting takes the same steps, but with one important difference. Rather than sculpting the model from wax, it's printed using PLA filament, which has a low melting point and will liquefy much easier than other filaments like TPU. This makes it quicker, easier, and more reliable than wax sculptures. This article will give you step-by-step directions on how to get started with lost PLA casting, including safety tips, how to make your own equipment, where to source supplies, casting your first mold, and the finishing touches. When possible, in addition to items that you can purchase, we will give you DIY alternatives to keep costs down. At the same time, sometimes there is no substitute for professional-grade equipment or supplies. As a final note on supplies, this article recommends casting with aluminium, which is cheap, easily accessible in most countries, and has one of the lowest melting points of any metal you will likely be using to start out. If you choose to use other metals, such as pewter or silver, you will have to upgrade your equipment, as certain DIY options aren't equipped to handle the higher melting points. Although additive manufacturing has gained huge popularity, it still is very expensive to work with metals. Industrial 3D printers cost hundreds of thousands of dollars and are huge in size. These limitations make it completely difficult for hobbyists and enthusiasts to play around with 3D designs created using metals. Thankfully, with lost PLA casting, users can now combine 3D printing with traditional casting methods to create parts with metals. Precisely, this 3D printing technique works in a similar fashion as the conventional lost wax casting. For years, experts have been using the casting method to make jewelry, and using 3D printers, one can easily prepare mold and use it to curve metal parts. All you will need is a desktop 3D printer, a spool of PLA filament, and some fun skills to begin with. Not exactly metal printing, but you can easily design objects made of metals. Sounds interesting? Thanks for watching. Until next time.